The most dangerous words in the English language are "I cannot afford it." Not because they are about money, but because they program your mind to stop looking for solutions. Every time you say these words, you are training your brain to accept limitations instead of finding opportunities. Successful people have eliminated these words from their vocabulary completely. Instead, they ask, "How can I afford it?" This simple change in language creates a completely different mental program. While most people are programming their minds for scarcity, these individuals are programming their minds for abundance. The tragic truth is that most people are accidentally hypnotizing themselves into failure every single day. They are using the most powerful force in the universe against themselves instead of for themselves. Right now, at this very moment, there are two people sitting in identical offices with identical backgrounds, identical education, and identical opportunities. One will become a millionaire within the next 5 years. The other will remain exactly where he is today. Wondering why success always seems to happen to other people, the difference between these two individuals is not talent, not luck, not connections, and certainly not circumstances. The difference is what happens in the 6 inches between their ears. Your mind is the most powerful force in your personal universe. It is more powerful than any computer ever built, more sophisticated than any technology ever created, and more valuable than any treasure ever discovered. Yet here is the shocking truth. Most people use less than 10% of their mental capacity. They have been given a Ferrari engine and they drive it like a bicycle. Every single achievement in human history began as a mental picture in someone's mind. The Wright brothers saw themselves flying before they ever left the ground. Henry Ford saw assembly lines before they existed. Steve Jobs saw personal computers in every home when most people had never seen a computer at all. These individuals understood something that most people never learn. Your external world is nothing more than a reflection of your internal world. This principle is so fundamental, so basic, that it governs every aspect of your life. Your current income is a reflection of your current thinking about money. Your relationships are a reflection of your thinking about yourself and others. Your health is a reflection of your thinking about your body and your habits. Your entire life, right now, is nothing more than yesterday's thoughts made manifest in physical form. But here is what makes this principle so powerful. Your mind cannot tell the difference between something you vividly experience mentally and something you experience physically. When you create detailed mental pictures of your goals and desires, when you see them clearly in your mind's eye, when you feel the emotions of already having achieved them, your brain begins to believe these experiences are real. It starts to work automatically to make them happen in your physical world. And scientists have proven this with Olympic athletes. They took world-class skiers and divided them into 3 groups. The first group practiced physically on the slopes every day. The second group practiced only mentally, sitting in chairs and visualizing perfect runs down the mountain. The third group did nothing. When they tested all 3 groups, the mental practice group improved almost as much as the physical practice group. The group that did nothing remained the same. This is the secret that successful people have discovered. They spend time in mental creation before physical action. They build their success in their minds first. Then they simply follow the blueprint they have created. They understand that all achievement is mental achievement first, then physical achievement second. When you look at any successful person, you are looking at someone who has mastered the art of mental creation. They have learned to use their minds as workshops, as laboratories, as manufacturing facilities for their dreams and goals. They have discovered that thinking is the highest paid work in the world, and they have become professional thinkers about their own success. The average person uses their mind like a passive television set, letting random thoughts and images float through their consciousness without any control or direction. They think about what they do not want more than what they do want. They replay past failures more than they visualize future successes. They allow their minds to be filled with the mental garbage of negative news, gossip, and complaint sessions. Then they wonder why their lives are filled with the same negative experiences. Successful people, on the other hand, take complete control of their mental processes. They guard their minds like precious gardens, being careful about what they allow to be planted there. They understand that their minds are goal-seeking mechanisms, and whatever they focus on consistently, they will move toward automatically. Your subconscious mind is like a faithful servant that never questions your orders. It simply takes whatever you give it and works 24 hours a day to make it happen in your life. If you give it pictures of success, prosperity, and happiness, it will work to create those experiences. If you give it pictures of failure, poverty, and misery, it will work just as hard to create those experiences instead. The tragedy is that most people are accidentally programming their minds for failure. They think about what they fear more than what they desire. They talk about their problems more than their goals. They focus on obstacles more than opportunities. Then they are surprised when their lives are filled with the very things they spend their time thinking about. But when you understand this principle, when you really grasp that your thoughts are creative forces that shape your reality, everything changes. You begin to realize that you are not a victim of circumstances, but a creator of circumstances. You are not at the mercy of your environment, but the architect of your environment. You are not limited by your past, but empowered by your future. This is why successful people are always optimistic. They understand that their current situation is temporary, that their future is unlimited, and that their thoughts today are creating their reality tomorrow. They know that as long as they can think, they can change. As long as they can dream, they can achieve. As long as they can visualize, they can realize. The power of mental creation is not mystical or magical. It is practical and scientific. It is based on the fundamental truth that your mind is a powerful force that shapes your reality every single day. When you learn to harness this power, when you learn to direct your thoughts toward your goals and dreams, you tap into the same force that has created every great achievement in human history. Now that you understand the foundation, let me show you exactly how this mental creation process works. Think of your mind as the ultimate manufacturing facility. In this facility, you have unlimited raw materials, unlimited energy, and unlimited production capacity. The only question is, what are you choosing to manufacture? Every thought you think is like placing an order with this mental factory. When you think about something once, you place a small order. When you think about it repeatedly, you place a larger order. When you think about it with emotion, you put a rush order on it. When you think about it consistently over time, you create a standing order that never stops producing. Most people place random orders with their mental factory. They think about success for 5 minutes, then spend the rest of the day thinking about their problems. They visualize their goals in the morning, then worry about their bills in the afternoon. They affirm their abilities at night, then doubt themselves the next morning. This scattered approach produces scattered results. The secret is to place clear, consistent orders with your mental factory. When you think about the same goal every day, when you visualize the same outcome repeatedly, when you feel the same emotions of success consistently, your mental factory begins mass production. It works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, producing the circumstances, opportunities, and resources you need to achieve your goals. This is not wishful thinking. This is purposeful mental creation. There is a profound difference between the two. Wishful thinking is passive. It is hoping things will change without taking responsibility for changing them. Purposeful mental creation is active. It is deliberately programming your mind for success. Then, taking the actions that your programming suggests. Let me tell you about Jennifer, a woman who started with nothing but a dream and a willingness to use her mind properly. Jennifer worked as a secretary but dreamed of owning her own business. Instead of just wishing for it, she began to create it mentally. Every morning, she would spend 15 minutes visualizing herself as a successful business owner. She would see herself in her own office, meeting with clients, making decisions, and depositing checks into her business account at first. This felt like pretending. But she continued anyway. She added details to her mental movies. She could see the color of her office walls, feel the texture of her business cards, and hear the sound of her phone ringing with new customers. She began to think like a business owner, act like a business owner within 6 months. Opportunities began appearing. A friend mentioned a business for sale. A potential investor contacted her. A customer expressed interest in her services. Within 18 months, Jennifer was indeed a successful business owner, living the exact life she had been creating in her mind. This is how mental creation works. Your thoughts become things through a process of consistent mental repetition combined with emotional intensity. When you add emotion to your thoughts, you accelerate the creation process. Emotion is the fuel that powers your mental factory. The more emotion you feel when you think about your goals, the faster your mind works to make them happen. Your brain is designed to solve problems and achieve goals, but it can only work on what you give it. If you give it vague wishes, it produces vague results. If you give it specific, detailed mental pictures, it produces specific, detailed results. The quality of your mental programming determines the quality of your life experience. This is why successful people are very specific about their goals. They do not just want to be rich. They want to earn a specific amount of money by a specific date. They do not just want to be healthy. They want to weigh a specific amount and run a specific distance. They do not just want to be happy. They want to achieve specific accomplishments that will make them feel fulfilled. The more specific your mental programming, the more specific your results. Your subconscious mind is like a heat-seeking missile that needs a clear target. Give it a clear target and it will hit it with remarkable accuracy. Give it a vague direction and it will wander aimlessly. This principle applies to every area of your life. Your income, your relationships, your health, your happiness. All of these are products of your mental programming. Change your mental programming and you change your life. It is that simple and it is that powerful. Your subconscious mind is the most sophisticated computer ever created. It processes millions of pieces of information every second, controls every function of your body, and works continuously to bring into your life whatever you program into it. The question is, are you programming it deliberately, or are you letting random thoughts and experiences program it for you? Most people allow their mental computer to be programmed by accident. They absorb the limiting beliefs of their family, friends, and society. They accept the negative programming of television, newspapers, and gossip. They allow past failures to create future limitations. Then they wonder why their lives seem to run the same unsuccessful programs over and over again. Successful people take complete control of their mental programming. They understand that their subconscious mind is like a faithful servant that never questions orders. It simply takes whatever instructions you give it and works 24 hours a day to carry them out. If you program it for success, it will work for success. If you program it for failure, it will work just as hard for failure. The key to effective mental programming is clarity and repetition. Your subconscious mind responds to clear, specific instructions that are repeated consistently over time. This is why successful people write down their goals, review them daily, and visualize them regularly. They are programming their mental computer for success. When you create detailed mental movies of your goals, you are writing software for your subconscious mind. The more detailed your mental movies, the more precise your programming. Instead of just thinking about being successful, you need to see yourself in specific situations, performing specific actions, achieving specific results. Add sensory details to your mental programming. See the colors, hear the sounds, feel the textures, smell the aromas. and taste the flavors of your success. The more senses you involve in your mental creation, the more real it becomes to your subconscious mind. The more real it becomes, the more powerfully it works to make it happen. This is not fantasy or daydreaming. This is precision programming. When pilots train in flight simulators, they are not playing games. They are programming their minds to respond correctly in real flight situations. Your mental rehearsal works the same way. You are programming your mind to respond successfully in real life situations every day. Top athletes mentally rehearse their performances. They see themselves executing perfect plays, making perfect shots, and achieving perfect results. They do this because they know that mental practice improves physical performance. The same principle applies to your career, your relationships, and every other area of your life. The compound effect of daily mental rehearsal is extraordinary. Each time you visualize your goals, you strengthen the neural pathways in your brain. Each time you feel the emotions of success, you reinforce your mental programming. Each time you see yourself achieving your dreams, you make those dreams more likely to become reality. Most people underestimate the power of consistent mental practice. They try it once or twice, do not see immediate results, and give up. But mental programming, like physical exercise, requires consistency to produce results. You would not expect to become physically fit by exercising once. You should not expect to become mentally fit by visualizing once. The successful people who have learned to use their minds effectively practice mental creation every day. They make it as much a part of their routine as brushing their teeth or eating breakfast. They understand that their daily mental practice is shaping their future reality. They know that what they consistently think about, they consistently bring about. Your mental programming is creating your future right now. Every thought you think, every mental picture you create, every emotion you feel is programming your subconscious mind to create corresponding experiences in your life. The question is not whether this process is working. The question is whether you are directing it or allowing it to happen by accident. Mental creation without action is just daydreaming. Action without mental creation is just busy work. But when you combine clear mental programming with focused action, you create an unstoppable force that can overcome any obstacle and achieve any goal. This is the bridge between your inner world of thoughts and your outer world of results. Most people make the mistake of taking action before they have created a clear mental picture of what they want to achieve. They start moving without knowing where they are going. They work hard but not smart. They stay busy but not productive. This approach leads to frustration, exhaustion, and poor results. Successful people do the opposite. They create detailed mental blueprints first. Then they take action based on those blueprints. They know exactly what they want to achieve before they begin. They can see the finished product in their minds before they start building. This mental clarity makes their actions more focused, more efficient, and more effective. When you have a clear mental picture of your goal, your actions become automatic. You do not have to force yourself to work toward your objectives. You are naturally drawn toward activities that move you closer to your desired outcome. Your subconscious mind guides you toward the right people, the right opportunities, and the right decisions. This is why mental rehearsal improves physical performance so dramatically. When you mentally practice a skill, you are programming your nervous system to perform that skill automatically. Your muscles learn to respond correctly without conscious effort. Your timing becomes perfect. Your confidence increases. Your results improve. The same principle applies to every area of your life. When you mentally rehearse success in your career, you naturally begin to act more successfully. When you visualize yourself as confident and capable, you naturally begin to feel and behave more confidently. When you see yourself achieving your goals, you naturally begin to make decisions that lead to those goals. This mental-physical connection is incredibly powerful. Let me tell you about Michael, a salesperson who was struggling to make ends meet. Michael was working hard, making calls and meeting with prospects, but his results were disappointing. He was taking action, but his actions were not producing the results he wanted. Then Michael learned about mental rehearsal. He began spending 15 minutes each morning visualizing himself as a successful salesperson. He saw himself confidently presenting his products, answering objections skillfully, and closing sales easily. He felt the emotions of success, heard the words of satisfied customers, and experienced the satisfaction of earning substantial commissions within 30 days. Michael's performance began to improve. He found himself naturally more confident with prospects. He began asking better questions, listening more carefully, and presenting solutions more effectively. His closing ratio improved dramatically. Within 6 months, he had tripled his income, not by working harder, but by programming his mind for success first. The key is persistence. Most people quit too early in the process. They expect immediate results from their mental programming, and when they do not see instant changes, they abandon the practice. But mental programming, like physical exercise, requires time to produce visible results. Think of it this way. If you planted a seed in your garden, you would not dig it up the next day to see if it had grown. You would water it, give it sunlight, and trust the natural process of growth. Mental programming works the same way. You plant seeds of success in your mind, nurture them with consistent visualization, and trust the process to produce results. The combination of mental creation and physical action creates a multiplication effect. Your mental programming makes your actions more effective. Your actions make your mental programming more real. Together, they create momentum that builds upon itself, accelerating your progress toward your goals. Now comes the most important part of everything we have discussed. You can understand these principles perfectly. You can appreciate their power completely, and you can believe in them absolutely. But none of that matters unless you make mental creation a daily habit. Success is not an event. It is a process. It is what you do consistently, day after day, that determines your destiny. The most successful people in the world have one thing in common. They have developed the habit of daily mental rehearsal. They do not practice mental creation when they feel like it or when they have time. They practice it every single day, regardless of how they feel or what else is happening in their lives. They understand that their daily mental practice is the foundation of everything they achieve. Your morning mental creation ritual is the most important appointment you will ever make. It is your daily appointment with success. Before you check your phone, before you read the news, before you talk to anyone else, you need to spend time programming your mind for the day ahead. This is not luxury time. This is necessity time. This is the time when you take control of your mental programming and direct it toward your goals. Here is how to create your morning mental creation ritual. Find a quiet place where you will not be interrupted. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and begin to visualize your goals as already achieved. See yourself living the life you desire. Feel the emotions of success. Experience the satisfaction of achievement. Make your mental movies as detailed and as real as possible. Do this for 15 to 20 minutes every morning. Some people think they do not have time for this practice. The truth is, you do not have time not to do it. These 15 minutes of mental creation will make the other 23 hours and 45 minutes of your day more productive, more focused, and more successful. But what happens when things get difficult? What happens when you face setbacks, obstacles, and challenges? This is when your mental creation becomes most important. Anyone can think positively when everything is going well. The real test of your mental discipline comes when circumstances are challenging. Successful people maintain their mental discipline, especially during difficult times. They understand that tough times are temporary, but their mental programming is permanent. They refuse to let temporary setbacks create permanent mental limitations. They continue to visualize their goals, feel their success, and program their minds for achievement, regardless of current circumstances. This mental discipline creates what I call success templates. These are mental patterns that you can apply to any situation or challenge. When you have practiced mental creation consistently, you develop the ability to remain calm under pressure, think clearly during crises, and find opportunities in obstacles. You become mentally prepared for success in any situation. The compound interest of consistent mental practice is extraordinary. Each day of mental rehearsal builds upon the previous day. Each week of visualization strengthens the neural pathways in your brain. Each month of mental programming creates stronger habits and better results. Over time, these small daily practices create massive changes in your life. Most people quit too early because they do not understand the compound effect of mental practice. They expect linear progress, but mental programming works exponentially. You may not see much change in the first week, modest change in the first month, but dramatic change after consistent practice over several months. Think of it like compound interest in a bank account. The first deposits do not seem to make much difference, but over time, the interest compounds and the account grows dramatically. Your mental programming works the same way. The first few days of visualization may not seem significant, but the compound effect over time is life-changing. Let me share with you a complete success story that illustrates everything we have discussed. Robert was a factory worker who dreamed of becoming a successful entrepreneur. He had no business experience, no capital, and no connections. What he did have was a willingness to use his mind properly. Robert began his mental creation practice by visualizing himself as a successful business owner. Every morning, he would spend 20 minutes seeing himself in his own office, making important decisions and earning substantial profits. He created detailed mental movies of business meetings, product launches, and customer interactions at first. This felt unrealistic while Robert was punching a time clock and following orders. But he continued his mental practice anyway. He began to think like a business owner. Even while working in the factory, he started noticing business opportunities that he had never seen before. He began reading business books and taking evening courses within 6 months. Robert had identified a business opportunity in his local market. He started his business part-time while still working at the factory. He continued his daily mental rehearsal, now visualizing his business growing and succeeding. He saw himself hiring employees, expanding his operations, and achieving financial freedom. Now consider this. You have 5 loan shelters in your area. You want one to be free. The business grew slowly at first, but Robert's mental programming kept him focused and motivated. He reinvested his profits, improved his products, and expanded his market. Within 2 years, his business income exceeded his factory wages. Within 5 years, he was running $1 million company with 50 employees. Today, Robert is a successful entrepreneur, but he still practices daily mental creation. He credits his success not to luck, talent, or circumstances, but to his consistent mental programming. He programmed his mind for success first. Then he followed the blueprint his mind created for him. This is your opportunity. Starting today, you can begin programming your mind for the success you desire. You can create detailed mental movies of your goals. You can feel the emotions of achievement. You can develop the habits of mental discipline that will transform your life. Here is your 30-day mental transformation challenge. For the next 30 days, spend 15 minutes every morning visualizing your goals as already achieved. Do this consistently, regardless of how you feel or what else is happening in your life. See how this simple practice begins to change your thoughts, your actions, and your results. Remember, your mind is your most powerful tool. It is the difference between success and failure, between achievement and disappointment, between living your dreams and just dreaming about living. When you learn to use your mind properly, when you master the art of mental creation, you gain the power to create any life you desire. The choice is yours. You can continue to let your mind be programmed by accident, or you can take control and program it for success. You can continue to be a victim of your circumstances, or you can become the architect of your destiny. You can continue to live an ordinary life. Your future is in your hands. More accurately, your future is in your mind. Use it wisely. Use it purposefully. Use it to create the life you truly desire. The power is yours. The time is now. Your extraordinary life is waiting for you to create it.